Welcome to Today at the Races here on Friday over here at Laurel Park. We're inside,
Yeah.
Keith, you and I, as
hmm
we have some wet weather going on outside. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. We had a couple of prices on Sunday, but I have a feeling with today, with what we're looking at, we potentially are going to have a couple more double-digit prices today,
We
Keith.
certainly could. And the pick fives, if you're not playing along, you got to jump in. Another big pick five payout on Sunday, 18,000 and some change for that early pick five. It was really good. We saw some good performances Sunday. Maserati
hmm
and the Stormy Blues,
Yes,
good effort there. Siege of Boston was strong in that allowance race
very.
on the grass with a big wide sweeping move to just power away from that field. But yeah, the prices, they keep it coming here at Laurel Park. And this off track today, turf with a little bit, maybe slight give to it. We needed the rain. There's no doubt. We haven't had that like
Yes.
heavy downpour. Just been steady for the last couple of days here. But I'm ready to get into. I hope we stay all the way through on this card on the turf. I've got some horses I like today, so let's go ahead.
Speaking of which, let's get into
hmm
that. We do start our first race as an early pick five, a mile on the turf, 3,
Yeah.
4, and 5-year-olds for this maiden claiming 30,000. Scratch the 4, 5, 13, 14, 15, and
hmm
16. Keith, you have the number 9 on top.
hmm
This is your outside horse in, excuse me, Servagia for Brittany Russell gets Sheldon Russell on top.
Sri Vijaya.
Sri Vijaya,
There you
very
go.
good.
Sri Vijaya. I
I
you know,
have it.
I did a
I
Dave
looked at.
Rodman. I went on there and kind of, I said, this is going to give me all kinds of trouble. Well, we got it. We
Yep.
got it done. A $200,000 purchase in here for down to the 30, down to the 24. Raises some questions. This horse is a half to Cat Burglar, who was second a couple times in the Grade 3 Pimlico Special. Some big numbers on the dirt, but there's some turf in the family. Looking through the breeding, half sister 7 for 8 in the money on the turf and won a debut, Callie. So I think it's there. Yeah, I'm a little bit leery of the purchase price and now in for this first time out, but my original pick was scratch, and you know my theory: if the firsts are good enough to do it, they're going to do it right. I don't like putting them second or third. I can't separate this field well enough to do that.
Right.
Hence, it's Russell goes on top. Sage Runner, the blinkers last time, the transition to the turf, good run, drop back, came again. No worries about the distance in here. And the two, I think Toast to Coast is a little bit of a looker at a price. We've got a very good turf rider in Forrest Boyce. I tell you, West Coast, the Stallion. Okay, limited supplies, early sample, pretty good. 18% on the sprinters, about 10, 11% on the routers. But the half sis by gemologist, pretty good. 3-time turf winner, won at 5/8,
Okay.
7.5, and a mile and 16th. With that kind of turf rider, take a little shot here with Toast to Coast.
As Keith
Yeah.
Fusel goes at 9-8-2-7 in that fun field in our opener on the Laurel Lawn. Race number 2 kicks off that early pick 4. Keith, you have a ticket structure lined up
Yeah.
for us, and take a look at that. No single.
No.
Not on a day
no,
like
no,
today.
Today's it's tough. 3-4-7, Mailman's a Flyer, Hellman, and Down Cold. They look like the 3 fastest horses in this race. I don't know. If anybody jumps up, this thing's going to be a blow-up kind of a ticket right off the bat. Race 3, 2 deep. We're going to try to narrow it down. This is the amateur riders race. Glad to have them here today. Hazelmore Beach, the 1 and the 7. Tonka Tough. I believe, Call Me Vivian, going to take a lot of play. It's an amateur riders race, so I really want to take a short price, capable rider, and Francisco Martinez has the numbers to do it. But if you want to go 3 deep, throw the 8 in there. Race 4, 1, 4, 5, and 6. You get 2 for the price of 1 with that Ness entry. Clubman, air token, and there's my old buddy asking for a Baskin. And race 5, 2 deep with the 2 and the 4. Lily Simone, ever so wild. A couple price shots in there in race 5 for a $24 ticket.
And there we go. And again, if you can go a bit wider in race 3, do so.
Yeah.
I can't believe to me that was a very gutsy 2 deep there
Yeah.
in that race. But we'll get into that in just a touch and just a shake. And race number 2 that does kick off the early pick 4 is a claiming 16,000, which have never won 3, going a 1-turn mile here on the dirt. Scratch the 6, Hop and Scotch. Keith,
Yeah.
you and I both had the number 4 Hellman on top. Let's go ahead and take a look at Hellman from that last time out.
Yeah, that was
Excuse me, not,
2
not
back.
last time out, 2 back, yes.
Okay, Hellman. This is an off-the-turf event at Pimlico. Not really a number when you look at the buyer figures that stand out. I don't know how they looked on some of the other products, but a 55 is just like, oh, okay. But does it quite easily, kind of outside, gets command. Looks like kind of a little bit of a morning workout here. Draws away steadily. Ridden out the comment. We're going to get Sheldon Russell today. A failed try on the turf. 7 wide, gave way and eased. You know my thoughts about that. They're going to come back, and Sheldon's going to stay. I like that angle. I think it's going to be the higher of the two prices here for Tony Ferrier. Give me a little shot here. I'm just a little bit of concerned for Down Cold. What are your thoughts on that one, taking the drop off the claim?
Let me scroll a little bit
Down
on my
Cold.
other
The 7
with
horse.
Down Cold. Yes, the other Farrier horse. So Hugh claimed his horse from Asmussen, and then Farrier claimed it. So, of course, you have that Farrier stat come in. But came back with a solid winter campaign. I think it's lucky a little bit in this field coming back to the dirt on a wet track, as he has gotten a win before. So you can't deny the drop. I think this is a guy who plays to win. So I'm not shaken so much by that drop down today.
Yeah, the owner trainer combo. They're willing to attack. I've seen that in the past. But Hellman though 4 for 4 in the money on an off track. Mailman's a flyer. The 3 horse off a little freshening. Certainly has the figures that warrants serious consideration. A little bit of a tough horse to gauge early what kind of trip. That maybe the freshening keeps him a little bit closer to rally into this flow. It's an interesting because you're looking at the pace. Who's going to go on the attack? Maybe Wonderwater from down inside.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. Especially being on that inside post, Keith.
Yeah,
so there we have it.
Yep, a little better price for the helmet. I think that'll be the higher price of the Farrier horses.
4-3-7-1, Keith Bussel goes to start off that early pick 4. Race number 3 is that second leg that we touched on a bit earlier. This is the amateur riders race in this maiden claiming 30,000, going a mile on the turf for the girls 3, 4, and 5. Scratch the 9, 11, 12, 13, 14. 13, 15, and 16. The 14 does run. Keith, you have the number 7 on top, as you mentioned. Hazel, Tonka Tough, and let's go ahead and take a look at Tonka Tough back on that last run over at Pimlico.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Maybe a little bit of an earlier move that I'd like to see, caught about 4 wide, makes the lead in mid-stretch, and just can't quite hold on. Fades a little bit late. Now we're going to shorten up to the mile distance. Positional speed here on this turf labeled as good. So here you see Tonka Tough making this move, going to clear, and just can't quite sustain through the last furlong. But third time back, was trying the hurdles, a couple races back. Failed try there back in April. But I think, with this rider as well, I'm pretty sure Woodson has rode some good races here. It might have won one last year over this turf course. Give a slight edge to Tonka Tough. Hazelmore Beach, the one you're going to have to, seriously consider here. Phil Schoenthal, the horses are running well. Over the last 30 days, Phil, 21%, 4 for 19. He's had a couple close calls. Horses almost got the job done with an ROI of 421. Out of that same race, I think had a little trouble in there as well. We should have highlighted that as well. That's my fault. But I think has a chance definitely to sit that stalking trip in here.
It's tough because I'm kind of looking at this race from a bit of a rider's perspective. And before I did that, I did have Hazelmore Beach underneath on my ticket. So I absolutely see that. You also include the number 8 for fun. Call me Vivian as you go 7-1, 8-14.
Yeah, Call Me Vivian has, just glancing the numbers that stick out. Hence, I went ahead and think that people are going to chase the public. 9-5 might be a little bit too much there. It could be, I don't think I'm going to take anything less than that. But, matches up against the right kind. A little bit of drop, closing kick that certainly should work against this group. I'm just not – it's too short of a price for me. I think that the public's going to jump in on this 8. And the 14 will toss in as well. Peace Fire comes in off the alternates.
Yes, absolutely there. In the amateurs race number 2. Race at number 4 does kick off that Rainbow Pig 6. Let's go ahead and take a look at that ticket that I have lined up for you.
Okay.
I do take a single in air token. Why not? We have a video coming up on him relatively soon in about a couple of minutes. Race number 5 is where I go wide in that event, in the turf event. Going short, and then the jackpot super high 5, race 4, 9, and 10. Race number 7, I double down with just the 1 and the 9 in those confident picks. And race 8 and race 9, I could have gone 4 wide in race 9, but then my ticket was getting a bit pricey, so I just shaved off a horse in that last race. So I gave you a $54 ticket to start off that Rainbow Pick 6, and it does start off in the starter optional claiming. going 7 furlongs on the dirt for the 3-year-olds and up. Let's go ahead and take a look, Keith. Excuse me. Let's wait a sec before we do that. Let's discuss first your top selection in the number 6, asking for a baskin. Rudy Sanchez Solomon, Thais Liapusina, 10-1 on the morning line.
You look up Enigma in the dictionary, you see a picture of asking for a baskin.
Yes,
This horse is just, this is like my holy synchronicity. So Rudy's got a couple horses like this for me. All right. Moisture's in the racetrack. We got a sloppy track. This horse is 6 for 8 with 3 wins on it. 7/8 can work. Has some wins, 3 for 7 and 2 seconds at 7/8 of a mile. Just in, out. You're guessing. But the good race for asking for a baskin puts him into the mix. I think he holds value in here. Hence, I'm going to use him as a value shot today. Looking at the speed, it's going to be. They're much better, very quick, proven speed here for Ness. I think he's going to send that one, hopefully set things up maybe for Boss Logic. But if you let the one clear, he certainly could be gone. But asking for a baskin, drops into that trip. I think he gets away from the first 16th of a mile cleanly. He can stalk and move into this at a square price.
Yeah, with Clubman, I had that one on and off of being in my top selection. Just with it, for me, not a quick turnaround, but I would love to see a little bit more time for this, just for this horse as an individual.
And going back, this guy's run, I know it's been a while since 7/8. He fits the one turn, but he's run 7/8 and run some big races. His best fig is at this distance. He's holding form, second off the claim here for Kieran McGee. If things get a little testy up front between Much Better, Token, if they kind of hook up around that 3/8 and carry, it's going to help the chances of the 4 club, and no doubt. Obviously, Boss Logic loves an off track. A disappointing effort back at Parks. A little freshing should do him good. But you want to look about Air Token's race?
I was speaking of a horse that put in some good figures and good
go.
performance. Air Token from a little bit of a break now in the barn of Norman Cash. Horacio Caramanos gets in the call here today, taking that top of the stretch, and we're going to see him win by about 6.5 here today.
Yeah, he got away shorter field. Only had to beat 3 rivals and had that speed edge, and he was sharp off the claim and off a little bit of a break. We've seen this move here from Cash. Now going to give these horses a little bit more time, and it's paying off. The dividends are there. 23-2, softer opening quarter. 23-5, sharpen up. It got away with it and just rolled away from this field. Caramanos right back. Another one. I'm not worried about the off track. What I'm worried about is when he kind of makes that. He's got to time that move just right into Much Better, and can he sustain and keep up and hold off the closers, because I think they will be charging that last 1/8 of a mile.
As you mentioned, Air Token just doing so well, and we see it visually again here. This is a nice starter optional that just sets up so well. And so interestingly, to kick off this Rainbow Pick 6, and with a couple of these barns, it's been turning around with getting these horses back at Laurel. And as we see Air Token, we'll be right back after this commercial break for the rest of the card.
And they're off.
And we're back in race number 5 in that starter optional, claiming 12-5 on the turf. Going short, I go wide here in my Rainbow Pick 6. We scratch in the 1 La Familia, scratch in the 14 my Juba. Keith, you have the numbers 4 on top.
Yeah.
This is Ever So Wild. Justin Nixon, J-Ron Barbosa gets a second try on the turf here in 2023.
Yeah, a little shot. Came back, and this is one we talked about last time. We liked it. Pimlico has shown the ability to come off of bad races, back to the turf and run big. I think what happened there was the 10 post. That was the downfall. That run into the turn at Pimlico comes up on you quick. If you're caught wide, you could just it's easy to lose steam. You got to get that perfect trip being able to drop in. Drafted back, but was caught 4 wide, 6 wide, closed in steadily. I think the field kind of works comparatively. I think the 5.5 is going to work. Threat level, midnight to 7 ran really big last time. It might be able to shake clear. Gets a big assist from the 1 being scratched, La Familia. Certainly very fast, but that extra 16th, 70, last 70 yards, might bring this one down. We shall see. But I think the road is certainly going to go through threat level midnight. If she breaks cleanly, I think she'll get the jump. Look for Ever So Wild, even Lily Simone. Great pickup by my man Bill Brasman, my partner up there with Equibase on her last time. He went back to the longer comment in the 2 back try, granted against better the starter competition. Had no, I think, front shoes or no high shoes. One of them had, had definitely a little adversity going there. Comes back into the right kind of condition, wins. She won with something left. That was a very confident ride, a little bit of a dual develop, but was able to slip through, kick away. I always say just a couple little right-handed asks. Lily Simone, back numbers against some okay types, fits in here. I know still eligible for the 3 in life, but she's got races on the page that work.
I agree. That's what I see. I do like how I had Ever So Wild on my picks. I just had to bump that filly off. I'm glad you have this one as your top selection. Because, as you mentioned, race goes through thread level midnight as Keith Fustel goes 4-2-7-3 there in race number 5. Race number 6 is our jackpot race. Our jackpot super high 5, of course, is in race 6 and only race 6 every single day. And it is in this allowance optional claiming 40,000, going 7 furlongs on the dirt for the girls 3 and up. Scratching the 2, My Flicker, the 3, Canoodle, the 4, Sophia's Secret, and the 5, Combat Queen. Keith, you have the number 9, in my opinion, on your top selection for Alan Bedard. Gets Charlie Marquez here today.
Yeah, I tell you what, the racing office and the powers that be, when they combine and put this race 6 together every day, it is a challenge for this jackpot super high 5. Got a good little carryover to chase today. And I've got the note up here, brutally tough. I mean, I was trying to line this race. I was going all over the map, Callie. You've got some scratches, 2, 3, 4, and 5. It's still a brutal race. But I'm going to try to overcome a tough stat here with the 9. You've got this one in the mix, in my opinion, for Alan Bedard. He's 0 for 15 the last 5 years in Maryland. But you know what? This horse has never been on off track. Ran really good against Open Allowance Company 2 back at Parks. 7/8, I think, is going to work for her. Sits mid-pack, can make that run into it. There will be some speed up front. I think Tweetaway Robin, she gets away well. She'll be there. Golden Effect will be up towards the front as well. In my opinion, is going to work for me. Buy Munnings out of an Archmare. That screams, get me on the off track. And I think, we're not going to get the 12-1 now that we had on the line. But can we get 6, maybe 8? We're going to try.
Sure, certainly. And then let's talk about your exact Golden Effect, Mike Trombetta. This filly has not won on an off track, the only time she's tried it, but this distance could suit her today again.
Yeah, she's 2 for 2 at the distance. Really faced some heavy heads last time out, called on that duel down inside and a little bit of a fade. I like her positioning here. She doesn't necessarily need to lead. Second off, a little bit of a break for a barn that's rolling right now. So I think she's part of this picture a long, long way. I don't think she could go to the front. If Tweetaway Robin kind of has a little hiccup out of there, if she controls it, she could be gone. Respectfully, I think has to be used. The 12 horse, you don't have her in the mix. Turf to dirt, always a good angle. Good try 2 back, beating a horse that came back to run big. I think over the Preakness weekend here for Etchi D'Argenta. I think she's gonna run big in here. The 12 with Jamie Rodriguez.
Respectfully, in the number 12 as Keith Fustel goes 9, 10, 12, 8. They're in our jackpot super high 5 race, and let's finish out the rest of the card after that race. Trickling down to race number 7, this allowance going a mile on the turf for the girls 3 and up. Scratch number 7, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Keith, you have the number 1 on top. Let's go ahead. Yeah. We have Downtown Katie and that girl from Ireland. Katie gets a bit of a rough go in that race to start it off with.
Yeah, it does. A little bit. It's a big, gaudy field. You'll love to see this 13. And just kind of in tight out of the break there. You see, broke a little awkwardly outside, a little contact, and a slight steady. Now, she's accustomed to her game is settling and coming from off the pace. She just got a little bit further back, and they were rolling out front. Look at those internals, 22 and 3, 45 and 1, 9 flat. But the girl from Ireland, you're going to see her. She's going to work that trip in between in the darker blinkers, right? He's going to be able to get the lead. And here's Downtown Katie. Another one, have to be working through traffic. Closes up quite well. And the 2-back race over this turf course, man, she just surged by and had something left in the tank. These two, the girl from Ireland, Downtown Katie, I think they're the ones to beat. I think, obviously, again, the 9 is a little bit more positional speed. Sometimes on the softer going, that speed, it's a little tougher to close and make up that bigger ground. But the 1 is proven on a turf course that has a little bit of give to it. But yet to see how much give this turf course really has.
And we will find out hopefully we'll find out in race number 7 as Keith Fustel goes 1-9 to 10 to the Michael Matz horse underneath your exacta.
Yeah, I think you've got to consider he's been doing okay of late. You see this stat here, plus 180 days, 12 sampling, 12 horse, 25% with a good ROI, edging towards $4. Faced the right kind. It was a triple key race in its second career race at Aqueduct. Then a hiccup. Didn't really run well. He's been fresh in 216 days. Again, The mile should work. It's a horse that ran well right out of the box in its career. I think she's got to be forward a long way in race number 7.
As Keith Fusel goes 1-9-2-10 there in race number 7. Race number 8, a mile and 16th on the dirt for the straight 3-year-old fillies, an allowance option claiming 6-2-5. Keith, let's go ahead and talk about, you have Ruth Ann on top for Cal Lynch, Georgie Rui, trying routing, for the first time here today.
Yeah, and what kind of put me over the top a little bit, I know I'm concerned she might have to deal with a little spinner, who I'm assuming still in here, has that speed, might be a little bit of a nuisance. But I think Ruth Ann, you're looking at the breeding again. Uncle Mo out of a successful appeal mare. I mean, that screams off track to me. And this is one that was against the grain a little bit in debut, just got run down by Double Pays in Gold, comes back with a win at Parks, and then battles every step of the way. Next time out, the number's a little deflated. I think this is going to jump back. We've got a mile work under her belt. She's there. I think if she clears, she's going to be very difficult. If a little spinner kind of goes out, she's got to make that move into it. We'll see. But I think it's going to work. You look at the sibling here. A half-brother has run 2 big races recently at Santa Anita at the 2-turn mile distance. So we're 2 turns here at a mile 16, 96 and 97 figure for that one. So I think we got a little hope here with the 3.
Okay, there we have it. And then let's talk about Major Houlihan for Hugh McMahon, Axel Concepcion. Let's go ahead and take a look at that last effort out from Pimlico, just entering the top of the stretch.
Yeah, Fast Track is a filly. Callie, we talked about it. We liked. She had a couple trouble trips. We thought this day without trouble, she could get it done. And she does. But Major Houlihan, good effort. Got closest pursuit there at the quarter pole. Stayed on that left lead. You see the winner drifting a little bit. There might have been a foul
Tired.
here, I think, in here as well, right. But she alters in, and Hugh's done a great job off the claim. Numbers just keep going up, and up, proving at the distance. Yeah, she should work fine here.
Absolutely there. As Keith Fusel, you also go underneath with the number 7, Justin North. This one is for Brittany Russell, gets JV and Toledo today.
Yeah, it was just too much of an ass last time against a good field. That first level allowance on the turf, tough post. Okay, caught very wide. Stamina certainly there. The field that she beat 2 back, it was okay. She rode the wave of the racetrack that day, but I think we'll bounce back and improve a little bit. I think Solving Progress made that big jump. Horses like this, younger fillies, 3-year-olds, scary. She made a good step. She makes one more for a barn, as we talked about. Trombetta, the horses are running well. Could make an impact. That's maybe the horse, if you're getting late in the day looking for a little bit of a price, I think she's still going to escape close to 8 to 10 to 1 that you use in there.
As Keith Fusel goes 3-2, 7-6 there in race number 8. Race number 9 is the claiming 16,000, which have never won 2. Going short on the turf for the girls, 3 and up. Scratching the 4, Lovely Liza. Scratching the 13, My Cajun Lady. Keith, you have the rail horse Irish Lace, Rudy Sanchez Salmon, Johan Rosado. Rudy's horses have been warming up ever since we got back over here to the Laurel lawn, and you think Irish Lace will be no exception.
I think she's in the right spot. You look the last 2 races, look at the condition. This is 2 in life, 2 back at Delaware. No, one's a 3 in life. Same thing last time out against multiple winners. 5/8, trouble, steadied early, steadied late. The 2 back number, even I'll take a couple points off of it at Delaware. It's going to work. She's got to get position without trouble by the time they hit mid-turn. I can't, if she's 7-8 back, I'm going to be concerned because I think some horses might get away from her. Go Chanel, you look at just strictly numbers on the turf. She's probably the horse to beat. Comes back here off a little bit of a break-in for 16. I think she's going to have the right kind of suspect speed in front of her to make an impact. So 1, 7, 6, and 10, 6 off the claim for Jerry Robb. Saw something he liked. This is another one that's got some okay turf races on her slate.
And we will find out how that tracks out there in our nightcap here of Friday racing. Keith, let's go ahead to lightning round and touch in on a couple of things like your not 1, but 2 value plays that you have going today. Of course, number 6, Asking for a Baskin for Rudy Sanchez Salomon there in the 4th.
Well, I think the off-track definitely helps us. Proven on an off-track and coming off of a bad race. This is a horse who's kind of good race, bad race type. So the trend, I think, Asking for a Baskin with a cleaner opening furlong can stalk and move into it. And in my opinion, 6 race number 9. Just, again, crying out, looking at the breeding right there. The numbers work. They're competitive. Barn's been chilly here over a long, long period of time, but maybe today's the day because I'm looking for that mud to move this horse up even more. So the dry track numbers work. should be better on and off track.
Well, here's hoping as Keith Usa has value plays in the start of the Rainbow Pick 6 and the Jackpot Super High 5 race that we have going on in race number 6. Come back to this show to refer back to Keith Usa's value plays. He gives some good ones. And now let's talk about a legend who is hanging up his boots in the game, Edgar Prado. Let's go ahead and take a look at that photo of him on Barbaro. But Edgar Prado, of course, has hit 7,119 career wins, over $272 million in winnings. But what I love is that his big break kind of came in 1997. He's from Lima, Peru, of course, but he won 536 races in 1997, making him the 4th rider in history to win 500 races in 1 year. Much of that success was gained in Maryland, and who was responsible for a little bit of that success was Bob Classeris. There they are at the Hall of Fame induction, where he, of course, was in the became in the Hall of Fame. I think it was 2004. I believe so, but regardless, so he was riding. He came in from Peru. He was riding for Bob in Boston, and he was having. Here's the story about how he came to Maryland. Is that Bob had his main string in Boston, but he was also starting a string over in Maryland, and Prado was race riding, and he was having some issues with the stewards at the time. So Bob kind of spoke in with the stewards, had a conversation, and they went over a couple of his riding replays. Bob didn't see Edgar doing anything wrong, and he just knew that as far as Prado with those stewards at that track, it wasn't going to be happening. So at that time, Edgar, was new to this country. His English wasn't very strong, so they were back at he was waiting for him back at the barn. Bob came back, said, "Listen, you don't have to worry about racing the stewards in Boston, and you're coming to Maryland." So that's what got that kickoff started. And here we have, of course, at the 2002 Belmont with Sarava for Kenny McPeak, that the longest shot ever at 70-1.
Wow. Yeah. Just brought a couple people to tears, I'm sure. Yeah, but Sarava gets it done at a huge number. But Prado, just remember, he thought out his races, rode really good races, and could finish. And and glad it's time. Like I say, you put in that much time, all of those victories, and father time, it'll catch up to us. It's got me. I'm sure.
Well deserved,
but
exactly.
He needs,
and that
right
was it.
now, it's he's accomplished plenty. Enjoy the rest of your life.
Absolutely. And here's the thing: I also wouldn't be surprised if Edgar decided to change his mind and come back, because he's kind of he has kind of been like that in the last couple of years. But really, it was Father's Day that kind of kicked things off with him being around his family. That it kind of brought this retirement decision to a close. And we will head to Dave Rodman for some more changes and scratches.
Got it. Good luck, everybody.